Welcome in the ring. A very good evening to each and every one of you. And we got some tremendous challenges at our end this evening, wherever you're picking us up from. You see that background there. We don't know how, we don't know what's happening at our end. It's the Jagabats people. We're getting quite a few challenges at our end. Quite a few challenges. And we're just going to be on for a couple of minutes this evening. I'm privileged to have with me Ganesh Mahipaul, Member of Parliament, and also the Opposition Chief Whip at the moment. Ganesh, a very good evening and welcome.
Let's fight. I didn't hear you say
Let's
that.
Fight. Let's fight, Ganesh. Let's fight. In a perfect world, things go according to plan, and this is one of those evenings where we don't know. We've been struggling at the back end for about half an hour, trying to make sure that we got a quality program, and we're still having a lot of challenge. And you guys know we don't come on this late, So we still wanted to talk with the folks, whether at home in Guyana or in the diaspora. How are you doing, Ganesh?
I am good. I'm good. As you know, the National Assembly has gone into recess. So most, if not all of our MPs, they are now going to be engaged in direct political work in their respective constituencies. And of course, other activities that are directly related to politics and their political parties' involvement and their grounding with the people. It is a period of 2 months. It starts from August 10 to October 10, and that is the period when you're expected to ground with your base and basically take a day or two relaxation, because we're human beings, so we do need it also. And but I can tell you the Parliament was excited yesterday. You were deeply missed, I must tell you that, but I know you had your circumstances. I know you had your circumstances that were beyond your control.
I miss the PPP, Ganesh. I miss them. I miss the PPP.
They actually asked me, where is Sherrod Duncan? I said, oh, you guys miss Sherrod Duncan. And then they were trying to get, they're fast. They always like get them people business. So I told him, I said, look, I took Sherrod Duncan off y'all back to the 2 days so you could get a little rest. And they actually had a laugh about it. But if I may just inform your viewers, we had some very, very good debates last night. The sitting started at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock on the 9th, at 4 o'clock on the 10th, 4 a.m. on the 10th. It started 10 a.m. on the 9th and ended at 4 a.m. on the 10th. So there were some good, interesting debates that occurred, and I will encourage them to go on the Parliament website and listen to those debates. And basically, to stay focused, hold the focus. The PPP believe as though they are they're winning this game with their distraction politics, but little do they know we are more educated than what we were before.
Yeah,
we are more focused as a nation. We are more exposed. Information is easily available. Programs like these makes it very, very easy for our folks to be integrally involved in current affairs. So that distraction politics that the PPP always grow on and always strive on is not something that will happen in the 21st century, and it's not something that our generation currently is easily convinced with. They got to come better than that. They got to come better than that. And the old time politics with the old used tires won't work. It wouldn't work. You cannot take an old tire and put it on a new Mercedes-Benz. It will look ugly.
Yeah. And they are ugly. Ganesh, I want to pick up on a couple of things. Let's help our viewers, whether they're joining us at home in Guyana, whether they're in the diaspora, it's closer to the Caribbean, it's North America, it's Europe, wherever these guys are joining us from, as they help us to spread this message, sharing the live stream, sharing the content, talking with their neighbors and friends, talking with Guyanese, wherever we're scattered on the globe internationally. Let's start with City Hall. You are the MP responsibility to shadow the local government. And what we're seeing at City Hall seems to be a return to the dark days of decadence and decay of the People's Progressive Party Civic. We see an obdurate town clerk in Miss Candice Nelson, who is refusing to obey and to follow the instructions of the council, a duly elected council. This seems to be evidence, if you needed any evidence, that the PPP has come back. They don't seem to be able to govern in a very fluid and smooth and integrative and in a consensus manner.
Sherrod, the imposition of this town clerk on the city of Georgetown and the mayor and town council is to frustrate them. The mayor and city council of Georgetown, they have been doing a fantastic job in terms of grounding with the people. The mayor is out meeting with people, talking, interacting, assisting, and so on. And you see, when you have such a good flow, it doesn't serve the people. It doesn't serve the PPP interests. So the PPP wants to give you an additional burden that will distract you from your real focus. And that's the point I was making in the National Assembly on the commission on the Walter Rodney motion, the commission of inquiry. The PPP is focused on distraction politics, and they always want to shift the goalposts, and they always want to use a football and kick it all over the place. And they are not focused on the primary objective of what the government needs to focus on. And that is to follow the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, implement systems that will make life easier for the people of this country, and uplift this country to a standard where we can be proud. It is as simple as that. I have put it in a nutshell there, 3 points. Follow the Constitution, put measures in place to better people's lives, and lift our country to a standard where we can be proud. It is as that simple. But they don't want to do that because they are more focused on distracting the population so that they can, behind the door or through the back door, steal the money that belongs to the people, put it into their pockets and into their families' pockets and their cronies' pockets. They want to do that because they believe that that is the best mode of them attaining pleasure in what they may conceive as a peace of mind. But as I said to you, Mr. Duncan, the people of Guyana are now more exposed, they're more informed, they're more educated, and they're more entertained. So the amount of information that flows to them, they can do what they have to do, analyze, critical thinking, focus on deducing merits and demerits, and they are with that wisdom. I have confidence in my people. I know that they are educated to the point where they can deduce themselves, and they know who really are the fakes and who are the real. They know for themselves who are the people that have their heart, their being at heart. Who they know who are the people that had them for 5 years in good soil, fertile soil, grooming well, and they know where we are right now. It's like the Saharan desert. And nothing to eat.
Yeah. Ganesh, you raised an important point early on in our discussion when you talked about the PPP not understanding it's a different country from that pre-2015 country that they left of decadence and decay. And we've said very early in their tenure, in the last year that they've had, that they seem to want to go back to that pre-2015 era, not understanding that the people are not trampling or treating rather lightly with their liberties. We saw the nurses protesting there this morning, I think it was in Linden, Lethem, against this forced vaccination. And people are saying, it's my choice, it's my body. And then I saw quite a few comments. I want to get your response to some of these comments. Shovani Tikaram says, my body, my choice. Nikhil Jandu says this is a worldwide experiment going on, and these fools dictating what we should do with our bodies. You have Shivraj, right? Shivraj Ramrup, and this was some comments, for instance, on the newsroom. Was featuring this protest. Shivraj Ramrup, wonder when the government is going to distribute money. They don't say they're working, and they don't say they're working, and leave the money. That's a little convoluted there. But basically, I think he's saying that the government isn't really working in the interest of the people. Christopher Fernandez, unvaccinated citizens being treated as outcasts. We are still Guyanese. Most of us voted y'all in power. Stop this crap.
Sharad, the reason why the People's Progressive Party is governing now the way they governed pre-2015 is because it is that period, pre-2015, when they all filled their pockets, when they were engaged in massive skullduggery, when they were engaged in a number of activities that have not given our country any fruit as yet. You have the fiber optic cable project, billions of dollars.
Yep.
You have the
Yep.
Skeldon Sugar
Yep.
Factory. You have a lot of roads and so on that were marred with corruption, as mentioned in the Auditor General's report of 2013 and 2014. And there were so many other ways and means that the People's Progressive Party pre-2015 was filling their pockets. And because they have enjoyed that selfishness of stealing from the people, of stealing from public coffers, of stealing from the taxpayers, and it enriched them and allowed them to live a luxury life. And you would recall it's pre-2015, we had Pradoville 1, Pradoville 2, and then we had situations where mansions were going up specifically for people of a certain level, friends and families. People were getting large salaries. The Gaisuku CEO, I think, was some Raj somebody, a large sum of money
Raj
to live
Singh.
out of the country. And this kind of corrupt practice pre-2015 enriched them, and it provided them with this selfishness, and it provided them with this ego, and it provided them with this wicked thinking that they have to continue it now to satisfy their minds and their egos and their practice. These people don't know God. They don't know God. They don't believe in God. They have no system in their structure that speaks to a supreme being, or that speaks to humanity, or that speaks to care and compassion. They don't have that. They don't know that. And because they don't have that and they don't know that, they will continue to do what they did pre-2015, and it's all about enriching themselves. And it has started. It has started. The Because We Care cash grant. Don't let us be hoodwinked into what is at the top there. A lot of corruption and controversies are involved at the bottom. This COVID cash grant, we have only seen the tip of the iceberg. We must ask ourselves why the Auditor General cannot go and audit what has happened there as yet. Even though Installed Ali said we need to have a special audit in the COVID cash grant, we will not be hoodwinked. We're seeing them for who they are, and they're exposing themselves. They are telling us who they are. They're showing us who they are, and they're demonstrating clearly, vividly, and without any form of objection who they truly are. And they are not hollow. So don't let us fool ourselves.
Yep. And in that vein of them taking people for granted, you know, the PPP would like to paint what is happening on this, the pushback on the mandatory vaccination, as though this is an new AFC thing. This is a Ganesh Mahipaul thing, it's a Sherry Duncan thing, a Joe Harmon thing, and so forth. But we're seeing all over the country their own supporters. I've just called out just a couple names there, who are pushing back against this forced dictatorship, this dictatorship on the whole. Just today, we saw a protest at Port Mourant where people have come forward in their struggle and say, we tired of y'all. We tired of y'all. We are working. We're not seeing what our monies are doing. Y'all owe us money. Where are our monies? This is just over a year, Ganesh. Shouldn't these people just resign and just go? They're like crosses in this country. They're like crosses on the people of Guyana.
Sherrod, I can assure your viewers and I can assure yourself, and even you can say exactly what I am going to say here. Had it been the APNU AFC, we would have engaged in a process of educating our people on COVID-19 and the vaccination. We would have engaged on a system of providing detailed information, well-researched information. We would have had a medical team as our advisors, and we would have been rolling out information and advice and make it so appealing and appeasing to the people of this country that they would want to run and come and take the vaccine. And that is what we have been saying. You need to be honest with the population. You need to come direct to the population with systems of honesty, not dishonesty, of honesty, and encourage and allow them to make the choice. Do not force us. It is our choice to make, but make us believe, or not make us believe, make us understand that the choice we are making is either the right choice or the wrong choice.
Yeah.
The way the PPP has been operating, they have given us nothing and they want everything from us. Because the simple vaccination in our body is really them taking everything from us, but they have given us nothing. The Sputnik V vaccine, the minister can't come clean about it onto this day. They bought it for double and triple the price that it is manufactured for. They have enriched a sheik, and I'm sure there's a kickback somewhere. There is more information, but they have not released the information. They're afraid to release it because if they do release it, their corruption will be exposed. It will be as broad as daylight, and that is what they're afraid of. What is so difficult for them to engage the political opposition and the people of this country for us to understand COVID vaccine better? What is it for them to do something that can basically provide information and guidance? Why are they so secretly handling this COVID pandemic and this vaccination process? It can only be because they are heavy in corruption. They are heavy in corruption. It's a money-making thing, and they have people who are filling their pockets. There is nothing else you cannot associate with their behavior. And they keep harping at take the vaccine, take the vaccine. Provide the information to us, man. And this mandatory thing that they're talking, the people who are sitting quietly and allowing this to go, they are the ones that will suffer. They are the ones that will suffer. The People's Progressive Party is testing the water. They are testing the resilience of our people. They are testing the patience of our people. They are testing the strength of our people. And when we remain calm, we remain unmoved, and we remain unbothered, they are going to up it another level. And if you don't cut this demon down in its embryonic stage, it will be an uphill, difficult task to get rid of it when it becomes an adult in our faces.
And that is why I say
people must heed the advice.
I say let's get rid of them now. We can't wait. They must go now. And that being said,
they must go now.
That being said, a year and change later, they still don't seem to have a comprehensive plan on COVID. It seems to be make it up as you go along. For instance, MP Mahipaul, they've announced of recent that persons entering Guyana, their own citizens, must at least have one, the first dose of the COVID-19. They get some pushback on that. They said at least you must present a COVID test that says you are COVID free. Now they have seemed to have pushed that out of the way. This is all within 72 hours. They're now saying that Guyanese who are unvaccinated and desirous of returning home have to make contact with the COVID task force. How, where, when, what's the phone number, what's the email address? They don't have a plan. They are making this stuff up. You wake up with the idea and you come, you put it in the public domain. It is confusion powder on COVID-19.
Well, the demon lives in confusion powder. Hell is a confusing place. And the demon thinks that they are in hell here, but they're not in hell. They're just stealing a place in our beautiful Guyana, and we will get rid of them at the right time. There's a reason why they want the people to make contact with the COVID task force. It is because they want the people to make contact with the COVID-19 task force, so that the task force people will tell them, hey, you got vaccine, you want to come home. When you land at the airport, you got to sign and accept the vaccine. That is a forced way of imposing the vaccine onto people. But Sharon, I keep saying, you and I can prattle for over and over and over for all night. If the people don't make a move and the people don't take a step forward and the people don't do what is right and fight for what is right, then we will only be here talking, talking, talking. Our mouths will get
Yeah.
dry and they will just be listening, whether they're in their relaxation zone, whether they're on their beds, whether they're in their chairs, whether they're on their television looking at it on YouTube, or wherever they are looking at the program. If they sit quietly in their AC apartment or AC room or got nice veranda breeze or whatever the case be, and they can't make it a step forward, then when you plant Bora, you can't reap okra. If you plant Bora,
Yeah.
Bora, you're going to reap. If you
Yeah.
plant okra, it's okra
Yeah.
you're going to reap. But you can't plant Bora
Yeah.
and want to reap okra. It don't work so.
And you know, Ganesh, that's a critical point for us to underscore, because just today I've had some people asking me, you know, when you're all shutting down, and I've had to ask the question, have you been to any of the protests thus far? Have you been out at Coffee Square on Wednesday? Tomorrow is another protest on Coffee Square. Have you been out there yet? You're talking about shutting down and closing down and what the opposition doing. But there have been lots of protest activities against mandatory vaccination. I know at least 2 this week, right on the square of the revolution. But have persons gone out? You're talking about shutting down. So the point to underscore here is moving the discussion, moving the discourse off of Facebook and putting boots on the ground.
That is accurate.
Yep.
Take the discourse off Facebook and on the ground. Stop the talk and start the walk.
Yep. And Ganesh, another issue I want to raise with you. The promises of the PPP are multitudinous, if you want an adjective. There are plenty, they're enough. But the execution, poor, coming soon. One of the themes that underline this administration, they promised 20,000 scholarships. Promise delivered. Went on numerous billboards that they spent millions of dollars to produce. Right? Not a student has sat in a classroom, whether virtually or in person yet, haven't been granted one scholarship. They said they would have rolled out this in July, then mid-August. Now they're saying that they're still open for applications. You know what really is happening? More confusion powder. They don't know what the hell they are doing. And so I'm just using this scholarship as emblematic of so many of the other promises coming soon. Y'all get your scholarship yet? Hundreds of thousands of people still holding pink slips in their hands. Y'all get it yet? MP Mahipaul.
You're correct. You're correct. And as I told you before, and I think I told you this earlier, distraction politics is afoot. Telling the nation 20,000 scholarships delivers is that you're creating a perception when the reality reflects differently. Telling people about all these mega projects and nothing has started as yet, you're creating a perception when the reality is something totally different. Why don't you go around the country and tell people how cost of living gone up?
Yeah.
And we're sorry. there's nothing we can do. Why don't you go around the country and tell people, sorry, the fuel price gone up, there's nothing we can do?
Yep.
Why don't you go around the country and tell people you're sorry about the heavy crime rate that you're currently experiencing? Robinson, that is a waste of time, and we can't do nothing.
Jack just saying in the engine
Why they don't go around the country and do that?
Yep.
I didn't hear you there, Sherrod.
No, I was saying, Jack, you're saying like engine room work, right? 1 year and they can't get the engine to start. The engine backfiring. Economic dynamism taking a beating. Healthcare taking a beating.
Since
crime fighting taking a beating.
The engine light is on. And when the engine light is on, it means the engine got a problem. And probably the problem with the engine is Jaddio itself.
Yep.
Because he got in the engine and create the problem. That is why the engine light is on. So probably he has to remove himself from the engine room, and the engine will then work.
Yep. He's jack of all trades, master none.
That's
economic dynamism. How is that going for us? 50,000 cash grant for school children. How is that going for us?
Economic dynamism.
40,000 old age pension. How is that going for us? And Ganesh, I know you said that we have headed into recess, and the public needs to make a note of that. When we examine their legislative accomplishments, poor. One of the defining things for this administration should have been that COVID vaccine legislation that would have articulated coherently, intelligently, eloquently their direction on COVID-19. None of that. Their direction in the rollout of these vaccines. 1 year later, none of that. But more importantly, MP Mahipaul, Chief Whip acting, or I should say like the town clerk, they are interim. When you look at their legislation that they have passed, if you were to try to graph it, you couldn't discern what this government is trying to do. And as they would have come to the climax of their first year, fraudulently in office, they hurry up to pass a couple things just to add numbers to the legislations that they would have passed. But there seems to be no coherence, no purpose. When you look at the legislation, it doesn't aim at anything. It doesn't seek to do anything definitive in our society. Confusion powder.
Well, Sherrod, it also comes back to what I was telling you earlier, perception versus reality. You remember when we took the seat of parliament, Nandalal, Anil Nandalal Chatri, he said that we're going to have a robust legislative agenda.
Yeah.
We're going to have a robust legislative agenda because we have so many things to do that we will need parliamentary approval, and we got to do this and we got to do that, and we're going to have a robust agenda. And the parliament met for 31 times. And in that 31 time was the first sitting when we were sworn in. So 30 times in 1 year, the parliament met. And of that 30 times, I think they dealt
30
with...
30 days in 12 months.
I think they dealt with what? And you must take note. You must take note of that 30 times that we have met. Probably 12
4
to 15.
4 weeks from which is budget debate.
Yeah, about 12 to 15 times dealt with budget debates. So there was no legislative agenda for those times. And
everything else coming soon.
Yeah, so when you think about the PPP, you have to laugh, because I cannot fathom, I cannot comprehend how these people can logically do what they're doing. How they can look at another man or another woman in their eyes and say to them that we care. How can they do that? How do they sleep at nights? How do they sleep at nights knowing that they are associated with so many wrongdoings, so many duplicitous actions, so many ungodly malpractices. So many wicked deeds are under their feet. How do they sleep at nights? And then they come to chastise the MPs in the coalition. The MPs in the coalition are not as seasoned in parliament as they are. Nandalal has been there for a while. Gail Teixeira has been there for a long while. Ashley Singh has been there for a while. Berry Ramsaran has been there for a while. Jennifer Webster has been there for a while. Rohi has been there for a while. Frank Anthony has been there for a while. Bharat Jagdeo has been there for a while. So they are so seasoned at lying.
Yeah.
They're so seasoned at malpractices and one way of doing things that when the change hit them with the coalition, young, energetic, vibrant members of parliament, they can't handle the steam. The steam too hot. They can't handle it. And they thought that we would have been doing it the way they are accustomed to having it. But little do they know that we are not here for smooth sailing. We will rock that boat. We will capsize that boat. We will empty them from the river. And then the sea shall become calm and the coalition shall reign. Thank you.
Yep. I don't think, Ganesh, as you go, that nobody, well, not nobody, because we saw them coming and we said from the inception is the same old PPP. But I think lots of people were willing to give them a chance to see if this was a transfigure, a change PPP, but it's the same old dirty, stink and dirty PPP. Same old PPP.
I don't think people were willing to give them a chance. They thieved the damn election. They plan it long in advance. They thief the damn elections. They're squatting in office. They're stealing from the people's taxpayers' money. They're stealing it. And they think that they're going to put a system in place to stay there. But they will not. You know what? People are upset and angry with this installed regime. If you do an election now, if you do an election now, PPP might not get a single seat in the parliament.
So atrocious has been their performance. So absolutely atrocious has been their performance. Ganesh, I know that you have had a full day and you got a full night ahead of you, and I want to let you go here. And we want to make sure that we tighten up some stuff in the back end of our programs. I think we're gonna call it a night at this end. But I want to thank you, Ganesh Mahipaul, the acting chief whip of the opposition, who has
the interim chief whip.
Who has held the fort. You know, it's only the people here, all this nonsense, all this foolishness. They're the interim government.
Interim government, they want the interim. They are the interim government. They want the interim management committee, and they are interim by themselves.
Yeah, and then Ali got the nerve, the IFLA graduate, to say that the leader of the opposition, the Honorable Joseph Harman, must say that they are legitimate before they appoint Chief Justice and Chancellor and all that. You better appoint those women, those bright people. You better appoint them for your own sake. MP Mahipaul, thanks very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for having me. Good night to you and good night to all your viewers. Always a pleasure being in the ring.
Let's fight. Great to see you. Guys, you know, these guys are going to meet the meter. Their days are numbered. Their days are numbered. I want to keep pressing forward because their days running out. And I know, like me, like thousands of Guyanese, not only at home in Guyana, but in the diaspora, are tired, are weary, bruised, and vexed with the installed fraudulent PPPC administration. Bruised and vexed with them. Guys, let's stay vigilant. We want to thank you for joining this evening. We're going to leave the broadcast here. We want to thank you guys for continuing to social distance, to wear your mask, to sanitize, to practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and for your safety, that of your friends, family, and your loved ones. Guys, we're going to see you tomorrow night, and we're going to ensure that we've tightened up things at the back this time. Thanks for joining us. Do stay safe. Thanks, guys.